Hey everybody, it's Brian back with Inspiring How You See That. We're the channel that talks about all different kinds of music and entertainment, brings you inspirational stories, and talks to some of your favorite artists. And today I have the one and only LENA SCISSORHANDS from Infected Rain. And LENA, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, really.
Absolutely, it's our honor to have you. And we were talking beforehand. I actually saw you in Cleveland when you were live, your first tour in the U.S. a couple years ago, and you put on a heck of a show. I mean, it's all energy. Do you have a special workout routine to have all that energy on stage?
I definitely tried to stick to at least a 30-minute good stretch of my entire body on tour before every single show. If I have the opportunity to visit a gym or I have more time because there is time and space, I do a workout as well. But as the practice showed, it's not as possible, but I do always have with me a couple of elastic bands and a yoga mat just so I can stretch really nicely all my muscles so I don't get hurt during crazy movements on this on stage during shows. Other than that, no, what keeps me really nice and ready, let's say, it's actually having the constant workout on stage, because
Okay.
it's an insane cardio what we do on stage. Even if you don't move as much as we do, just singing in general involves your entire body, so your core is working, you even if you got everything super figured out and you're very great at what you're doing, you're still involving certain muscles that are important to perform and to sing, right? So that definitely keeps me very on point. So let's say after the first 5 shows or a week, I am in the best shape ever.
Nice, especially with the way that you sing. I mean, so you do a lot of what I'll call growling, and I mean, how do you have to work your diaphragm specifically to be able to do that, or how are you able to do that consistently?
Thank you for asking that. Actually, singing really doesn't matter what type of singing, involves a lot of muscles. It's so many steps that we do involuntary, really, together with our breathing when we sing. It's a technique for sure, especially in this kind of genre, a technique that you can learn by yourself, of course, especially nowadays we have internet and online classes and subscriptions, and there's so many teachers out there. When I started, however, internet was not really that popular. We only had MySpace and YouTube at the time, something like that. I'm talking 15 years ago, and it wasn't that easy to find guidelines and all these secrets of how to perform in this specific genre. So I did take a lot of lessons, and I've tried my best to stick to the practice, because really what it is, it's muscle memory. So if you don't practice constantly, even if it's twice a week or 3 times a week when you're not on tour, your muscles, they forget that motion. They forget that exchange of this muscle helps that next muscle with the air together, the oxygen and everything all together. You create sound and emotion. And it took me a while, I'm not going to lie. I've done many mistakes as well as many progresses, I think, in my career as a vocalist. I'm still learning, though. The best person to thank for how I sound and how confident I feel on stage is my vocal teacher and good friend, Melissa Cross. She definitely explained to me in the most easy language how to use all these muscles, how to use this machine in order to sound in a specific way, So yeah, I do vocal warm-up just like I do a body stretch every single day before a show. I never rehearse or record without it even. So it's just part of my life since I started, being part of this career and part of this, amazing world of singing.
Sure. Now, is there anything else besides exercise, like verbal remedies or anything that you use to take care of your voice while on tour?
While on tour, really the best remedy is to things. First is enough good quality sleep. So when I say enough, I'm talking about 8 or 9 hours of quality sleep, if possible, every day, which is almost impossible because you're on the road, and I'm a light sleeper, for example. So in order to have a good result with a good sleep, I often help myself with lavender oils or sprays for my pillow. I do always use earplugs, so I don't really hear the noises around me, just so I sleep a little bit deeper. I also often use herbal remedies teas or CBD oils on tour that calm my nervous system and allows me to sleep better. For sure. Besides a good sleep, second very important one is to stay as hydrated as possible, like more than normal. And when I say stay hydrated, obviously we all understand and know that there's nothing better that hydrates you than water, right? Now, I did discover as of recent I don't know the exact name for it. It's like a little device that you can breathe in and mist.
Oh, a nebulizer?
Like a nebulizer, thank you. My vocal teacher actually suggested it to me after I was recovering from a surgery that I had. I removed my tonsils. And for a while, I had to take a big break from singing and using my throat in general, because even though it's super far from your vocal cords, but still it's your neck, some muscles are connected, I guess, in a way. It's swallowed, I'm sorry, and your body is fighting something, so sure. I had to take a big break, and she suggested that, and I can't wait to take it with me on tour and see how that helps. She actually thought that I'm using it already on tour. It's a super simple, cheap device that helps you even if you're just a teacher and you speak a lot in front of a big audience. It's just to keep you more moisturized and hydrated, really. Sure. But yeah, stay hydrated and sleep well. Obviously, don't party too hard, because eventually your body will give up, and be like, it's definitely, I have to go to bed earlier than everybody else often. And, I don't really stay after party or hanging out and talking too much after the show. In fact, Melissa is always suggesting to try not to talk after your shows at all, Sure. So yeah, there are little things, but again, everybody's very unique in their own way, and every factor can influence your body and the way you feel. Your ethnicity, your age, your DNA, even what you have hereditary in your family, many things. For example, I had hereditary big tonsils. I was born that way, and they were influencing my immune system tremendously. I started having, heart issues since I was a baby, and those were never taken care of, and my body was constantly fighting something. Not until, recent, I realized that I need to do something about it, and I had the time, so I did. So often these things, even if you do everything properly, but you are fighting something even minor, could influence you not having 100% of your energy to put into the job you like. Any job out there, really. Sure. But you know how physical, vocals can be. So.
Sure. And I wanted to talk a little bit about more of your music itself. I know, looking back at some of your early stuff, you could definitely hear some of that nu metal. Particularly, I was thinking of Korn as an influence when I was listening to your older stuff. What were some of the influences on you as you were growing up? I know you grew up in Moldova before you came here.
Yes, I lived actually in 4 different countries in my life. This is country number 4. All 4 countries were very different culture, different languages, very different. Now, growing up, the only source of music that I had around age 13 and 14 was MTV. MTV at the time used to be super cool, and it had a lot of, alternative bands. This is how I discovered Nirvana for myself. And later on, a lot of it was the era of nu metal, just like you mentioned. And I definitely listened to a lot of those bands growing up. Now, did they influence me as a musician or the genre I wanted to be in? I wouldn't say so, because I wasn't really composing the music. I didn't know anything about composing even my vocal parts. I was helped in the beginning a lot by my musicians. For first album, it was completely the ideas of my musicians, even for vocals, because I didn't know what I'm doing. I was never in a band before. I never studied music, and I didn't really know what I'm doing. The only thing I was good at, or practice at, let's say that, was writing lyrics, because I just started writing poems at a very young age. And that was the only thing that I did have handy already as a tool, I guess, or whatever we want to call it. But other than that, I had to learn a lot. So already with second album, we kind of put both forces together. So it was them, but with a little bit of spin, like a little spin of my own ideas. Then third album, already more and more of me. And since, I would say, third, fourth, and fifth album, and now we're working on album number 6. Boys give me insane amount of liberty and really, really like my view on their, their melodic parts of the instruments. And, often I also ask for suggestions, because there are often, like, I'm a very critical person towards myself, especially. Sure. Like, honestly, I'm not towards anybody else besides myself, really. I don't think I am, at least. Often I am not like 100% sure, and I would ask suggestions. But I feel like the team, especially with Vidic, which is as well one of the founder of the band together with me, I have built a amazing trust, and the way we work together is super easy and smooth. And he guides me often into certain directions. Like, he would say, "Oh, here I could totally hear you like throwing some rapping," or like, "Here I just focus on singing like ideas." Like he will give me certain guidelines like that sometimes, but majority of the time they give me like a green light to do what I feel like needs to be done, and I appreciate that insanely, because it makes me feel so much more free, especially because majority of the things I write about are very personal, and I want to be able to deliver that emotion, and nobody else can deliver it besides the person that felt it. So yeah, I like the way things are going on right now. So I think that it is possible that in the very early album or early songs of Infected Rain, it is possible that some traces of new metal were there, also because we used to have a DJ, which was a live DJ that did majority of the things like himself, and he would like compose certain things and play live turntable, and it was pretty cool. But as soon as he left, which was around I think after we released the first album, I don't really remember 100%, or maybe a little bit before, but we kept the element of electronics in our songs, but not as much new metal, I guess. Right. And we don't do it on purpose. Really what it is people grow as musicians, people grow as people, taste in music, views on music, and preferences change as well. So it is okay and normal, I think, to have differences in albums and styles often.
Sure. And that keeps everything fresh, which is nice.
Thank you.
Yeah. I feel like we should explain to kids watching, MTV actually used to have music.
Oh, yeah.
I know they don't believe it now, but...
I know. It feels like forever ago, because we are talking about, in my case, 23 years ago. It's around the time that I started watching MTV and like really appreciating everything that was different, like even pop musicians that were unique and different in their own way, they are still my favorite till these days. Like Pink, for example. You know, I remember her early music videos, and even though she was a pop star right away, and her music is a pop genre, but she is sometimes more metal than some metal heads.
Right.
See what I'm saying? So metal is not necessarily just the music. It's just not being afraid of being you, and spreading the word about, you know, human feelings and situations, and I don't know. It's so complex.
Sure. And along the lines of that, and you had mentioned earlier, talking about, you know, writing from your emotions, going through a lot of your songs, I've connected with a lot of, there's a sense of you're dealing with loneliness and, you know, not necessarily depression all the way, but sometimes, but it's more kind of that natural human yearning for something. Is that something that you pull a lot of your art from?
Yeah, it just so happened that since I was very young, in a way or another, I was either with only one parent or without either of them. So that, I think, started early on when, you know, coming from a childhood with a problematic family situation and family issues, definitely already made me think about it and see it, because that's pretty much, I started writing poems, I believe I was 14, and it was just me and my friend from school, Natasha. She is the only person that ever read those poems that I used to write. And so, yeah, like, in a way, it started like super early in the days, and then throughout my life, I always felt like, I don't know, being alone is totally fine. And being able to be creative and being able to be functional when you're alone is very important, because a lot of people cannot function when they are alone. It's not their fault. It's either the society or the way they grew up or the way they live their life. We are who we are based on our experiences from the past. But now, being alone and being lonely are two different things. So being lonely is in our human nature. We do tend to want connection, to want to be loved and understood, and have someone just to do nothing with, even, you know. And it can be even like sometimes, you know, having a pet helps a lot, but obviously we are talking about bigger things and deeper things like that. Sure. So yeah,
it's like you want that person that you don't have to try to be anything else with.
Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't try to be anything else with anybody, even when you're alone and you're just creative, like in your career, or at your job, or in your friendship, or in a family, any relationship. You should always be you, be yourself, and do you, you know, no matter what. But yeah, I think that we were created to have a companion.
Yeah.
And often we think that we have a companion and we have their company, but really we don't have what we are looking for. Yeah. We are not really that satisfied when it comes to the partnership, because everybody's different. You know, something that I might want from a partner is not the same as you want, or
sure,
you know, anybody else out there. So that's the tricky part. Finding someone that is good for you, finding someone that is exactly what you need is the tricky part.
Yeah. And if you find that magic trick for that, let me know, okay?
Yeah, I think I gave up.
But it also, I know that probably wasn't easy to release all of that to everyone. So I know we want to thank you and appreciate that you kind of bared yourself in that way. Because I think to a lot of people, when they hear you sing that you've gone through the same emotions, it's like you don't feel quite alone, because you're not the only one going through that. So that helps.
And that's the magic of my job. And that's something that I would not be able to give away under any circumstances. When I realized how powerful that is, the connection between complete strangers that can relate to you and that you can touch their like most painful guitar strings or whatever you want to call them of their soul, you're like, wow, this is magical. It's magical. And I've had musicians and artists do that for me growing up and even now, you know, and it's awesome to hear that my music can touch souls like that.
Sure. It's almost spiritual in the way that it can cut through everything. Nice. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't point that we talked about how you're able to growl and scream, but you also can beautifully deliver melodies. You know, I'm thinking of the song Storm that you just released live. That was incredible, and that was a different side of you that I hadn't seen before.
Yeah, it was something I haven't seen before either. In fact, I was so nervous. I remember even during rehearsals, I had so many doubts. I was this close to telling everybody, maybe we should skip this, because I felt very subconscious about it. It was my first time performing on like empty stage without my musicians on the stage, and all eyes on me, literally, like all the lights. There was nothing else. It was darkness around. I guess what I did that helped a lot, I just tried my best to connect to that emotion that I had when I wrote those lyrics and when I was composing that melody for that song. And that just helped, you know.
Sure. Well, I can speak for a lot of people. I'm glad you did go through with it because you did a fantastic job. So
thank you. Thank you so much.
I wanted to ask you about your other YouTube channel, Bananas.
Yeah.
So that's been pretty cool going through that. I mean, you've kind of brought fans into your life. As a matter of fact, you've kind of been on my side of things interviewing people. So how did that come about?
I think it's basically thanks to the pandemic. I had the YouTube channel a little bit before that, I believe a year before, because I was actually constantly asked about it. My friends and fans would constantly ask, why don't I do this? Because I could share so much about, you know, touring live or my appearances, or just show everything that you just asked previously about the routine and about this and secrets and things you learn. And again, it was also something that I needed a lot of time to process and accept and actually do, because I was like, eventually I will run out of ideas. In fact, it's been very long time since I've released anything new, mainly because I've been super busy because I joined another band as well, called Death Dealer Union, and we are signed with the same label, so we are working on a lot of material. Yeah, and it's been great. So I just didn't have time, that's all. But it's been fantastic, and especially during the pandemic, it kept me really nice and busy.
Yeah, I know some of the first couple videos I did where it was just me looking at a camera. I'm like,
Yeah.
what do I do?
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you, of course, on your Instagram, the real star, your pup Luna, and I think I see her next to you there. How's she doing?
Yeah. She's sleeping right now. She's great. She's my baby. She has an insane sense of presence and awareness, and I love that the most about her, besides the fact that she's so cute. She travels with me, she tours with me. I love her very much. Yeah.
How long have you had Luna?
Since the beginning. I think she was 2 months, and now she's 4 years and 3 months.
Nice.
So, yeah, I taught her from baby steps, little by little. We did a specific school together, so we reconnected on a different level. Yeah, I love it.
Nice. She's adorable. Like I said, she steals the story sometimes. So.
And that's absolutely fine. I love it.
Nice. So I want to ask you a couple more things. So just some kind of fun things. When you're on tour and you have one of those very rare off days, what do you like to do?
Oh, just sleep. I try to sleep. I try to at least lay down and rest my muscles, rest my body. If for some reason we are in any rare cities that we never visited, or something really cool and historical is around, I do try to visit. Often it's not that possible because we have to park the big bus or trailer, like with the trailer somewhere super far outside the city. So it's not always possible, but I really just like to rest. I read, I can watch a movie or something like that.
Nice. And of course, you've toured throughout the U.S. and throughout Europe and other places. Where's somewhere that you haven't had the chance to go yet that you'd love to go to?
Many places, really. But if we talk about Infected Rain specifically, like going on tour, it would be Latin America. I cannot wait until we hit, Latin America, because we have an insane amount of fans there that they are asking for it forever. It's just super difficult for citizens of Moldova to get visas, approvals, and we need visa for every single country in Latin America. It's not like when you go to America, you just need one visa for the entire territory. It's not the same for Latin America, so that's why it didn't happen so far. But fingers crossed it will happen soon. That's definitely something we are waiting. All of us in the band, we are waiting for that to happen.
Sure. Now, are you guys planning a tour coming up soon, or?
Well, yes, we just announced a European tour that will start in late May, and it's going to be throughout the entire summer until September. There are some dates that are going to be added to the list. I think we are going to visit more than 12 countries in Europe. We will play festivals and club shows around, I think, when everything gets nice and settled and announced, it's going to be around 50 shows.
Oh, wow. Nice. Yeah. And one of the things that I saw on your Bananas channel was actually you went back to your hometown in Moldova. Yeah. And how did it feel after you've lived in other, like you said, other countries and in the U.S. for a while, to go back home?
It was definitely a mixture of different feelings and sensations. Going back to your roots can be tricky and can trigger some memories that you don't expect, which definitely happened. But I tried to welcome those emotions and those feelings, because I know for sure that if it wasn't for my upbringing and for everything that happened in my past and when I was a child, I would not be the person I am right now. So I'm just embracing it and accepting it and welcoming it.
Sure. And before we go, I did have to ask, so you've got a lot of incredible artwork in the form of tattoos. I know that throughout the years, you've been adding. So I know they probably all have meaning to you, but are there, one or a couple that particularly have special meaning to you?
Yeah, I mean, the ones that are closer to me are tattoos related to my band, which can be either the name of the album or some band logo or artwork. One that I specifically like is the Power Pop Girls, because it's a tattoo we have with my sisters. So it's like a connection. It's a thing from our childhood. We loved watching that show and pretending that we are saving the world and we are girls, Yeah.
Nice.
Other than that, all the other tattoos are just symbolic or just, garnishing my body.
Sure. So the part you said you and your sisters all had the same tattoo then?
Different girls from the Power Pop Girls.
Oh, okay, nice.
Ones, yeah.
Very cool. My brothers and I were actually, I don't have any yet. My oldest brother does, and the three of us were talking about getting on our forearm like a Celtic cross, all the same. So
there you go. There's tattoos that are like sibling related.
Yeah.
There's like so much love. I love my sisters very, very much. So yeah, those are special.
Nice. And before we started, you had talked about, I know your latest album with Infected Rain came out, I believe, in 2022. And you had mentioned that you guys have been working on some new music. So is there a new album coming up that we can be excited about?
Yes, but unfortunately, we don't know the exact date. We are planning it for the very beginning of next year. Some songs are already in process. Some videos are in process as well. So we will be releasing some material this year before the album comes out. Yes.
Awesome. So we'll be sure to keep you guys up to date when new stuff is coming out. We're excited to hear it.
And also with Death Dealer Union,
yes.
Which is a band I joined last year. We are going to release our very first album this year and a lot of music videos. We already filmed 4. Besides the 2 that are already out there, we filmed 4 more, and maybe we'll film some more. We'll see.
Nice. Very cool. Lena, thank you again so much for spending this time. This has really been a blessing. Before we go, is there anything that you'd like to say to fans?
Just thank you so much for your love and support, and see you all at our show.
Absolutely. And from personal experience, I'm telling you, you got to go see them live. It's a lot of fun. You're going to have a blast. Again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And as always, we want to thank you guys for spending this time with us. We love you all. God bless, and rock on.